everybody. Welcome back to Rethink Your Legacy. I'm Francisco Servet, your attorney and problem solver at law. This is your conversation. This is for you to help you live out your family's values before we leave this world. That is what we talk about every week on this show. Join me. I'm glad you're here because you know what? This is one of these, this is a little bit more uplifting topic than estate planning lawyers usually get to talk about, right? Estate planning lawyers a lot of times are like the most morose group in the crowd. All we deal with is death and taxes. So today we're actually, I'm happy to be able to dig into something that is a good result from the coronavirus. So COVID-19 brought about so many things in our life. So just turned so many things upside down completely, right? I mean, who in here, whose life wasn't affected by COVID? I don't think anybody can say it wasn't affected at all. And so, and in a lot of ways, things haven't been good that have been affected. This was a good thing. This is a good thing. What we're going to talk about today is pets, your animals, your furry friends, your buddies, your companions, and because COVID brought about I don't even know if there has ever been a surge like this before. It brought about the adoption of so many animals who have otherwise been in shelters or in foster care. It brought about so many adoptions that they're still trying to figure out the numbers. And I mean, just tons more people have pets. I know for me, no, I can't groan about it. For me and for my family, I know right when Corona hit in Arizona, it kind of early mid-March. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was right before Easter. And what happens every Easter? Well, Tractor Supply, Shoppers, Ace Hardware, all these stores, they start carrying what kinds of animals? They start carrying little cute baby ducks, little tiny furry balls. I mean, they're just adorable. And my wife was, her and the kids are incredibly bored because school is canceled and there's no school. So they're bored out of their minds. So what do? They run over and my wife's like, I'm just going to go take them up to the store and show them the ducks and let them, play with the ducks at the store a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay, don't get any. So anyway, I'm at home. I forget why I didn't go with them. I wasn't yet working from home. I didn't go. They went to the store. And they were gone for a while. I guess they had gone to a couple places. And then I get a phone call. It's on my oldest daughter's cell phone. She doesn't call me that often. She's 12 at the time. She's 13 now. And she starts in with the dad, please, 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 please. And then my other daughter and then my youngest son, all of them are please, 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 please on the phone. And they are literally just going bananas saying, please, can we get a duck? Can we get a duck? Can we get a duck? And I'm like, what? Are you crazy? And then, of course, they flip on, because you can do that these days, they flip on FaceTime. And they start showing me the video. They start videoing me pictures, video of these adorable tiny little ducks. There's this whole, bucket or bin or whatever it is at the store, and they've got a bunch of little babies in there squeaking and squawking, and they're just begging for baby ducks. And of course, you can't just buy one duck. They won't allow you to because they'll be too lonely. You have to buy two. And my gosh, they're only $5. And so I was like, you know what, guys, school's canceled. We're in quarantine. I said, go ahead and get a quarantine pet. I just kind of threw it out there. I was like, meh, whatever, sure, let's do it. Let's have something fun. And the girls, they just went, wait, what? What? We don't believe you. Are you sure? Are you serious? Are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, go for it. Like, just go for it. Like, let's get him. That's cool. Like, yeah, sounds like a great idea. And they turn around, they start laughing, and they said, Mom, Dad said we could get a duck. Dad said we get ducks. Dad said we get ducks. And she grabs the phone out of my daughter's hand and she says, what? Are you kidding me? You always say no. You always say no to this kind of thing. How in the world could you say yes? Are you kidding me? She says, She said, I told them there's no way they get a duck. And then they finally said, well, if we call dad and ask him if he says yes, can we get one? And she said, yeah, fine. You call your dad. You just try to get him to get you one. She was banking on the fact that I was going to say no. Little did she know, I was just bored out of my mind, right, during quarantine too. And so there. Now we have two ducks. They're it's a pretty amazing life to watch a duck grow up from a little tiny baby duck to, I can't show you guys on the radio, but I'm looking at it on my phone here. If you're just listening, they are full grown only 5 months later. They are full grown. And not only 5 months later, they're full grown 2 months in. These things grow like weeds. They grow so fast. So look, what we're going to talk about today is planning for your pets. If you've got some pets and these pets are important to you and you want to know how to plan for them, you can give us a call, 480-750-7788, and be happy to set up for your first appointment. We've also got a pet planning kit that we're giving away for free. And I just invite you to call and ask for that, and we'll send it over to you by email. It's a great tool to just walk you through and think about all the things that you need to think about when you're planning for your pets. Look, planning for your minor kids is different than if you've got grown adult children. Planning for charities is different than if you are planning for your children. And children, it's different for pets. There's just different things you got to think about. And so our kit helps you think through all those things. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to do that. What are the pitfalls, the things that trip people up, and what are just like the big strategic tactical options that you have that you need to think through. So I'm going to go through those things on today's show. And so I welcome you to join us for this. So I thought it would be a little bit fun because they just sound so cool. So here's the thing, okay? With our ducks, Piddle and Puddle. My kids named them. It's adorable, Piddle and Puddle, right? If you jump on Facebook, I'm going to share some pictures of them, and they're adorable. I'll share some pictures of when we got them, tiny, tiny little, the size of a baseball. And now, holy moly, they're huge ducks. So one of the things that they told my wife when she was buying them and getting all the equipment, all the supplies, was that as babies, they don't really know what breed they are. They're not told, and they don't track what breed they are, but they're usually either mallards or Peckins. And that mallards are a little more common, I guess, but Peckins are just, they are part of the bunch. And so so she's like, okay, well, when she brought them home and, we kind of laughed about the whole thing about me saying yes, we thought, well, geez, if these are mallards, we started to look it up. We're like, Arizona mallards, they're probably going to fly away during the winter. We started reading and finding articles that said yes, actually they do. Their mallards are migratory. They fly away for the I forget which season, for the summer, but then they fly back to the same spot the other season. And so we thought, oh, well, that wouldn't be too bad. Have ducks for half the year. But then of course our ducks grew up and they are Peckins, which don't fly. So we have ducks full-time year-round. Yes, we do. But anyway, they're big, they're beautiful. So we went from these teeny little yellow, furry baseball-sized ducks to now these massive, huge, white, big, beautiful ducks. They're really pretty. And I thought it would be fun just to see if you could hear them a little bit. So this may or may not come through very well, but let me give you a little sample of their full-grown quacking.
No, I don't have any treats.
So that's the sound they make, and that's the sound of my boy and my girl. You can hear the difference in their voices. They actually do sound different, and so it's pretty fun. We're enjoying having the ducks, and if any of you have gotten quarantine pets, what kind did you get? I'm just fascinated by this. I just find it really fun, and my kids are really enjoying it. So after the break, what I'm gonna dive into first is some of the big stories that have come out about people leaving millions of dollars to their pets. And we've actually helped some clients do that, leaving it for their pets and for charities that take care of animals. So come back after the break. That's what we're going to dig in on. And if you are in this boat, if this is you and you need help, your first step would be to get our pet planning kit. And that'll help you think through all these things. Just call 480-750-7788. Or you can go to radio.keystonelawfirm.com. And on that page, you can request that we send you the pet planning kit. So I invite you to do that and get this week's checklist for what you need to think about. I don't want you to miss out. I don't want your pets to miss out. If you've got a whole farm of animals, this is definitely for you because you need someone to step in and take care of those animals for you. After the break, like I said, we're going to pick up and talk about a few case studies and see how it affected these families and their animals. Welcome back to Rethink Your Legacy. I'm Francisco Servent, your attorney and problem solver at law. And today we're digging in on the pet topic, how to plan for your pets. I let you guys listen to some sound of my ducks, my own. We have 2 ducks. We got quarantine ducks, Piddle and Puddle. They're adorable. They are full grown. It only took them 2 months to go from little tiny babies to full grown. What could I call them? Like mess creators. They're pretty messy animals. Well, they're not too bad. From what I thought it was going to be, they're pretty awesome. We have just a little area penned off in the backyard for them that has a little pond we built. We keep, making improvements to the pond, and I built the whole thing. It's pretty fun. And so we're going to talk about how to plan for your pets because there's one city on the East Coast that is tracking the numbers, and an article said they've had a 500% increase in the number of adoptions of pets over last year. And so, we've got to take care of our animals. I mean, you know what you got to do week by week. But what happens when we don't take care of our animals? Well, what happened to one of my cases, we had a dad who passed away unexpectedly. His children all lived out of state, and he had a beloved cat that was, it was his, some cats you have for over 10 years. I think he'd had this cat for 15 years and was still alive when he passed away. The kids didn't quite get along with each other, so they couldn't quite make, quick, easy, efficient, smart, fast decisions for anything. It ended up that a third-party neutral was appointed to administer the dad's estate, to take care of business because the kids couldn't get it done among themselves. And they knew, put a third party in there, somebody else that, can take care of this and will be independent. And so they did. This third party went in, they have to clean the house out and they have to figure out what's going to happen with the pets. Well, they took the pet, they had, they sent out, please family, can one of you please make arrangements for this animal? Please make arrangements for this animal. Please make arrangements for this pet, for this cat. Please, please, please. Nobody wanted it. Nobody could take it. They tried with the grandkids. They tried with friends and neighbors. And literally, they couldn't find anybody to take this cat, this poor cat. And so what ends up happening when that's the case is the cat, and then combination of factors with its age, it's really not adoptable. They couldn't find a foster home. The cat ended up being euthanized, ended up being cremated. And just literally because her owner had not taken some simple steps that we're going to talk about today. On the flip side, we have a client who, she passed away a couple years ago. Similar thing. She had a very beloved beloved cat. And when she was going through putting her plan together, her overall estate plan, she didn't really leave a bunch of money to this cat, but she did make some specific instructions for the cat. She knew her son would take care of it if she guilted him into it, which is sad to say, but that's okay. It's better to do that than to leave them leave the cat in a bad position and neglected. So she left a little bit of extra money for one son if he took the cat, and he did. When she passed away, he took the cat. He was perfectly fine with that, and actually he appreciated it because it was more of a connection to his mom. And so she made just a very simple provision that acknowledged she has a pet, and here's what I want to happen. So that's what we're going to talk about. Now, I think some of the stories that are a little bit bigger and a little bit more unbelievable are the celebrity stories when they leave millions to their pets. So, one of those was Leona Hemsley. And I didn't really follow her growing up, but she was a very wealthy hotel owner, and a little bit of trouble with the IRS. But interesting stories go back all the way back there. But she had a dog. She had a little Maltese dog named Trouble, and she left her dog a trust fund. Well, guess how much she left Trouble? She left Trouble enough money to get in trouble, and $12 million of trouble. Whoa, holy cow, right? So Trouble was set up with $12 million to be able to live the life of his dreams. Oh my gosh, really? $12 million? Look, if you want to do that for your animals, let me know. We will help you get it set up. It is what we do. We've actually done that for a few of our clients, because you know what? There are some clients who they've just been frugal their whole lives. They've started and grown some amazing businesses. They've made some wealth, and they don't have children, or their children have been estranged from them. And the most important people to them, the most important things to them are their animals. And you know what? If you need help doing that, give us a call, 480-750-7788. Or you can get this week's guide and pet planning kit to help you do that, if you want to. But Trouble, poor Trouble, got into trouble with the probate court. The grandchildren, Leona Hemsley's grandchildren, challenged that. And Trouble, how does Trouble defend himself? Well, Trouble did have a representative in court to defend himself, but the probate judge still agreed that nope, $12 million is too much for a dog, and knocked it down, just to $2 million. So Trouble only gets a $2 million trust fund, and gave the rest of it to, charity, and part to the grandchildren. So the grandchildren did win out on that challenge. If you follow some of these other celebrities, they're pretty funny. The biggest, Michael Jackson. I don't know if I remember this growing up. Michael Jackson had a pet chimpanzee named Bubbles, and this is actually a really sad story. He intended to leave Bubbles $2 million to take care of Bubbles for the rest of his life. And chimpanzees can live long time. But literally what happened was that the whole thing crumbled. The whole designation, or I don't know how he designated it. That's what didn't get into the news. How he said he was leaving it to Trouble or to Bubbles, whether it was in a trust, whether it was in an appropriate document, but it was completely knocked out. So Bubbles got zero. No trust fund, nobody to take care of or paid or anything like that. So literally, Bubbles is now living in a shelter, a foster shelter in Florida, where somebody has volunteered to take care of Bubbles. And I think, that shelter is supported by public donations. So they're literally, they have to raise money to take care of Bubbles, which is sad. I mean, geez, Michael Jackson left a very sizable estate, and I think it's the responsible thing for us to do, to take care of what we leave behind, and that's really too bad that none of it would have been left for his chimpanzee. Now, the biggest gift that I could find for an animal was by Carla Liebenstein and her dog Gunther the Third. Left her entire fortune. So this lady was a German countess, and I'm not familiar with what that exactly means, but she left her entire estate to Gunther the Third, who's a German Shepherd. Surprise! Her entire estate valued at $65 million. Right? $65 million for Gunther the Third. No challenge. Everything went to Gunther and is being managed for him, except for Gunther died a week later. What? Yep, Gunther died a week later. So they have set it up to where it passes to Gunther's descendants, just like a normal inheritance. And so Gunther the fourth now is considered the richest pet in the world. The people who are managing the estate and managing this inheritance are saying it's currently valued at over $300 million. Whoa. So what's the lesson here? The lesson is plan for your pets. The lesson is watch how much you leave them. What we're going to dig in after the break is the actual specific tactics. I've got 4 specific tactics so that you can know what to do from a very, very simple side all the way up to a $65 million plan. And if you want to get started with that, if you want to get our free pet planning kit, give us a call, 480-750-7788, or you can go to radio.keystonelawfirm.com, go to our website, and just request that pet planning kit from this week's show, and you will get a copy of it. Send it right to your email so you can kind of start to think about what would you do for your pets. It's a little different than kids. It's a little different than charities. And so I want you to know what those tools are and have something to hold on to. That way you can think about this as you get ready to make some decisions. 480-750-7788. After the break, I'm going to pick up on the 4 specific tactics, 4 specific things you can use to take care of your pets. So we'll talk to you back in just a minute. Welcome back to Rethink Your Legacy. I'm Francisco Servent, your attorney and problem solver at law from Keystone Law Firm. And today we're talking about pet planning, and we've got a free pet toolkit to help you plan for your pets. So give us a call, 480-750-7788, and be happy to send that to you. You can jump on our website, radio.keystonelawfirm.com, and we'll send that right over to your email. So we hit on what happens when you don't do this correctly and your poor pets suffer because of it. We've talked about some fun celebrity and multi-millionaire estates being left to pets, which is also kind of amazing. And right now, I want to share with you the four specific things that you can do. The way we break it down at Keystone Law Firm is, I think, useful for you to think about it because in a way, this is how you would want to treat it. How much detail do you want to give to your pet plan? It's dependent on the dollar values that you're allocating to that part of your estate. If it's all of your estate, then okay, great. If it's a part of your estate, then what part is it? So we break it down into 4 levels, okay? There's the first level, which is you're not allocating anything in specific. The second level, which is about $500 to $5,000. The third level is from about $5,000 to about $25,000. And then the fourth level is if it's over $25,000. And we do that because that tells us how much effort and detail do we need to give this piece of your plan. Okay, if it's your whole plan, if you're leaving your entire estate to your pets, to your horses, your farm, your chickens, your ducks, then it's going to need more detail. If you have, a goldfish and you just, it's just a goldfish, you're not leaving them anything, then again, that's going to go swing to the other side of the pendulum about how little detail you're going to need. So the first level is what we call a general designation, And this is essentially where you are not saying anything about your pets in your plan. You're not. But you've done a plan, you've done a will, a trust, you've done something. And so your pets are actually addressed in there, even if you've said nothing about animals. And here's why that is. Because in every plan, and I just want to pull the language up, in every plan, every will, every trust, there should be some sentence in there that says either here's what happens to quote unquote everything else in my estate. Okay. Everything else goes to my kids equally. Well, your pets, your animals will be captured under that little everything else. And sometimes it's called a residue clause. In a trust, you'll oftentimes see it referred to as personal property. And under Arizona law, that's what would be considered. That's where animals fall, is under personal property. And it'll say something like, a personal property may be disposed of by a written memorandum, and or if not, then according to the rest of the terms of the document. And then that's where they just fall under the general allocation. They go according to they'll go according to what your beneficiaries say. The second level, from about $500 to about $5,000, if you're leaving them that much, like say you have an animal and you want to designate $1,000. Well, what I recommend you do is you add a specific designation in your document and say something specifically. That's all that means, is say something specifically. And what I mean by specifically is just talk about the animal. Say, I hereby leave $1,000 for the benefit and care of my cat. My cat, so-and-so. We have a cat named Tinsel. I wouldn't leave Tinsel $1. Whatever happens to Tinsel happens to Tinsel. It's a running joke with my wife. So you can name something specifically. That's the second level of care and planning that you might give your animals, okay? And in that specific thing, you're not going to get very crazy. You're not going to, talk about for what and for who and for why. And you're just saying, look, I'm leaving my pet $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. I don't recommend you go more than that on these gifts, on these specific gifts, because they're not intended to take care of things that are going to last longer than that $5,000. What you don't want to do is leave more money than you have instructions for. Okay, that's the problem, is leaving it $10,000, but then the animal only lives through and spends $1,000. If you have used a general or a specific short designation, then what can end up happening is we don't know what to do with the rest of that money. And then your trustee literally can sometimes have to go to court, spend a bunch of money to go to court to have a judge tell them what to do. So if you're leaving more than $5,000, I recommend you go with the third level. In this third level is some more detail, all right? And all of this stuff, all of these levels, all this detail is in our pet planning kit, which you can get. Just go to radio.keystonelawfirm.com, put your name and email in there. We'll email it to you straight away, or you can call the office 480-750-7788, and we will send it to you. In the third level is what we call a care plan. Okay, this is if you're leaving more than $5,000 and you want to give some specific instructions. You want to help your trustee know what to do. You don't want to leave it to chance. You don't want to leave it to just everybody's discretion. Then everybody has to agree. Everybody has to be part of the decision. You don't want to do that. If you don't want to do that, then this third level is a care plan. Okay. In this, what you're going to say is here are my pets' names and here are their breeds, and here's how much I'm leaving for their care during their life. You'll say things like, I want on my death, I want this animal to go to so and so, or I want this person to be able to designate where they go. Right? Maybe they'll go to this person temporarily, and so that they can find a suitable permanent home. And then you might even give some backup options, right? If this person can't make the arrangements, then my backup person. But then you'll also outline, here's who their vet is. Here's the kind of daily things we do. Here's the things I'd like them to be able to have access to. I don't want them to just be boarded and paid for. I want them to actually have more than a minimum standard of life. I want them to actually have a family, to have people that are, giving them some enjoyment, taking them to the dog park, taking them on the RV trip, and are helping them enjoy the rest of their life as well. And then you'll name some actual backup plans if that pet passes away, or if you have multiple pets, what happens to those funds next, right? Do you have the next level of pets? Do you have a descendants of pets? We have some clients who raise dogs and who breed dogs. And so, they've actually got a lineage that they've been cultivating and developing, and they may want to provide for that over generations. And that's totally fine, right? And so you can do all of those instructions in a care plan for your pets. That's the third level of planning. The fourth level of planning is where you're leaving more than $25,000. That's generally where we start to say, if you're leaving more than that much to animals or your pets, then we need to think about this a little bit deeper and be more careful. Arizona law allows you to leave money to pets. It didn't used to be allowed. It used to just, somebody would say, I'm leaving money to my animals. They would die, and then their beneficiaries would challenge it in court, and the court would say, yeah, we're not leaving money to animals. And they would bump it all. The animals would have nothing. Arizona changed that, and now it's uniform across the country. You can leave money for your animals, but it has to be done through a pet trust setup. If you're leaving more than $25,000, what we call that is a platinum care plan, because you're actually talking about leaving them enough money that is either it's going to maintain a standard of living that you've provided for them, and you need somebody to be there to manage that and to pay those bills. It's not we'll pay for a vet bill once in a while. We'll pay, give you $50 a month for cat food. It's we're actually paying rent somewhere. We're paying for, a dog walker. We're paying for daily care. And we're outlining that in a very long, thorough, we're actually creating a whole trust for them. That's a platinum care plan. So if you need any of these, or if you just want to brainstorm this with your family, give us a call, 480-750-7788, and ask for our pet planning kit, completely free guide. We'll send that right to you. Or you can go to our website, radio.keystonelawfirm.com. And right there, you can drop in your name and email. We'll email it to you right away. And you can sit around and talk with your family about this and figure out what it is you guys think you should be doing to take care of your animals, take care of your pets. And maybe this just helps you spur a discussion of how you should take care of your pets right now while you're still here, which is what me and my family are doing with our new friends, our new buddies, Piddle and Puddle, our big, white, giant, fluffy, white Pekin ducks. They look just like the Aflac duck. It's hilarious, and we love it. After the break, we're going to come back, and I've got some questions from our listeners that have to do with planning for your pets, and I think we'll fill in some gaps. So join us after the break so we can pick this up and keep talking about how to take care of your furry friends. Welcome back to Rethink Your Legacy. This is Francisco Servent. Today we have solved the problem about what to do for your lovely little pet friends, and Piddle and Puddle, our new ducks, have helped us solve the problem. And I could have spinned this whole thing as get your ducks in a row, but that's just too cheesy. So we talked about the problems that people run into, that families run into when they have to inherit a pet that wasn't planned for. We talked about the 4 different ways that you can solve this if you want to for your pets and your family. And so if you have problems, if you want to solve this, give us a call, 480-750-7788. It's what we do. We help families protect and create a new legacy. That's the whole thing, is to, and you get to do that right now while you're still alive. It's not something you wait for at the end. So right now, we've got a few questions from our listeners. If you have a question, send it in, radio@keystonelawfirm.com. We'll try to incorporate it into a future episode. If you have a question specific, that's something really private for you and your family, you want to get it answered, my team will help you understand how to get an appointment and get that process started with us. The first question I want to dig in on is, what if we have different pets by the time we actually die? Now, because if you set up a plan and you got a plan for your pets, and you say, like we have Rex, our dog, we have Tinsel, the cat, and we have Piddle and Puddle. What if we say in our trust, hey, we want to make sure they go to somebody that cares for them. We want to leave a little bit of money to help make that transition easy. Or we're leaving all of our estate to our animals or to charities that take care of animals. What happens if you have different pets when you die? And, your plan says, hey, take care of Rex and Tinsel, but when I die, I have, Bear and some other cat. Well, what will happen? This is actually a bigger problem than we might realize. We might think, man, they'll just figure it out. I mean, they're going to have to figure it out, yes, but you don't want to leave them with that attitude. You did it the first time, you need to do it the second time. this is one of the things that I'm a big, if I could preach a message, it would be that you've got to keep these things up to date, just period. It's like your doctor's appointment, right? You go in for an annual physical. It's like your car, you go get it checked up. It's like your taxes, you do them every year. The reality is, this day and age, our lives do change and the laws do change and strategies get better. And so this isn't a thing that you do once and you're done. It's like physical fitness. You can't say, yeah, I worked out once, I ate healthy once, I'm done. You got to do this forever. So my first thing is get these things updated. If your animals change, just sign an amendment. We make it super easy for clients that work with us, right? They just do that on an annual basis. It gets very routine, and just kind of work it into your pattern and your habit, and you develop it, and you just kind of do it. There it is. Oh, you got a new animal? What's the new animal's name? Okay, let's swap it. And you just swap it in there. If you don't, then what might end up happening is that money kind of gets stuck, and your family's all then going to have to agree on what happens with it. And that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid forcing them to make those decisions. You want the decisions to be made for them so that they don't have to get everybody's agreement. They can just follow your wishes. They can just execute on the instructions you gave them. Because when everybody has to agree on stuff after losing a loved one, it's hard. It's stressful. I don't know if you've ever gone through that, but I've seen hundreds, I've seen probably thousands of families do that by now. It's exhausting. It's stressful. Grief, it brings new reactions, new emotions that people aren't accustomed to dealing with. And so you want them to not have to deal with it, just to follow the instructions. Second, we have a second question here, which is, who will make sure the trustee honors your wishes for your pets? Right? Well, who's going to make sure this happens? How do you make sure that Fido just doesn't get completely disinherited, even if you said something for Fido? Well, if you've got this problem and you want to get it solved, you can give us a call, 480-750-7788, or you can go to our website, radio.keystonelawfirm.com. Remember, we're giving away a free planning kit for your pets, so you can take that home, review that, see what it means, talk to your family about it, and actually make some instructions for your family, because your trustee is the one who's going to be carrying out your wishes. Well, how do you make sure they do that when you're gone? Essentially, what's going to happen is if you've left, even if you've left 100% of your estate to your animals, to your pets, the people who are going to enforce that and hold the trustee accountable are going to be your extended family members. Honestly, they are the ones who otherwise would have inherited. Or if you're just leaving the animals a piece, then it's going to be the other family members who make sure that the trustee does what you said they should do. So if you left $5,000 to take care of an animal or pets for the rest of their life, and your trustee kind of starts not really doing that, then your other beneficiaries can step in and hold them accountable. That's really who's going to have to do it. There's not any case law in Arizona on what I'm going to say next, but what I think would be another option is if a nonprofit charity that takes care of rescued animals saw that a trustee was not doing their job, they might actually have standing to enforce that, just because they would otherwise be forced to rescue the pet, and maybe they would have standing. I think in Arizona there'd be a chance for that. Third and last question before we run out of time is, what happens if your pet outlives your trustee? There are a few animals that their lifespans are actually really long. The classic story is the one of the tortoise. They have a lifespan of over 100 years sometimes, certain kinds of tortoise. And what happens? Well, in that case, if you've got one of these animals, then you'll just have a succession of the trustee. So you name, this person as your first choice, and then somebody else as your backup. And then you'll name a mechanism to appoint a new trustee when they can't serve anymore. And that can come in the form of a trust protector. That can come in the form of your trustee being able to appoint their successor. It can come in the form of your family can appoint someone. Lots of different ways you can do that, but you can designate a process to designate a future trustee. So you kind of build that into your trust. If you don't build that in, then they're forced to go to court to get that get somebody appointed. And that can be thousands and thousands of dollars just wasted on legal fees doing that process. So build it right in as you're picking the person. That's all we have time for today. I want to encourage you, if this is something you want to solve, then give us a call, 480-750-7788. If you're dealing with the pet planning or any other topic related to your estate plan, we do wills, trusts, we do complicated asset protection planning for business owners. We help people plan the succession of their business. We also help people plan the succession of their wealth. If you're passing on wealth to your next generation or to future generations, we help set up legacy trust, dynasty trust, asset protection trusts. And we also help people plan for that final stage of life that we call that legacy and care stage, where you're trying to figure out how to pay for the stupid nursing home expenses that nobody really ever plans for. So if you want help protecting your assets to get qualified for Medicaid or VA, we do help you do that. Anything related to protecting your assets, planning and inheritance, that's what we do at Keystone Law Firm. And look forward to meeting with our team. The first step with our firm is called a discovery hour. It's a really no pressure, low investment appointment. And you get to really figure out, what do we need? What are the options here? All this stuff can seem very complicated and confusing. And one thing I'm really proud of our client relationship managers is that they know how to make this clear and simple for you. They don't make this more complicated. They make it easy to understand. 750-7788, or you can go to radio.keystonelawfirm.com and get this week's free resource, a pet planning toolkit, all no charge, free for you to take that home and talk to your family. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a great week, everybody.